In 2020, Edinburgh City Council spent a bit of time and energy, and I presume money as well, upgrading the streetlights in the city. Time will tell, and you'll have your own opinion as to whether new is better than old. But at least the streetlight that is at our back gate is now on all of the time, instead of being off most of the time as it was before. It's just over 200 years ago that Edinburgh first had streetlights. The City Council put up 18 wooden poles on North Bridge to accommodate the gas streetlights that they were about to install. 2 years before, the Edinburgh Gas Company had been founded to do this kind of work. And so in 1819, Edinburgh had its first streetlights. 1822, Princes Street was illuminated by streetlights, a year before anywhere in New York, for example. And up until then, people who had been walking in the city at night had been walking in darkness, or depending on any light that would spill out from windows and doors in the houses or the tenements as they walked. And so walking in darkness through the city, particularly perhaps through the streets and alleys of the old town, would be a dangerous thing to do. You're never quite sure who or what you're going to meet. You're never sure where you're going to put your feet and what you might stand in, if you know the history of Edinburgh's old town. So walking in darkness is, in the Bible, a picture of a people who have become disconnected from God. They've lost their way, they've lost that connection, and so they've ended up in ways that have been wrong and have created fear and anxiety in their hearts. And so this darkness is a picture of their disconnection and them being lost in so many ways. And in Isaiah chapter 9, we read of this people who've been walking in darkness, who have seen a great light, and that great light is explained to us as a child being born. And that's about one of the first places that we go when we celebrate Christmas, to read Bible verses about the people in darkness seeing a great light, a child is born, and Jesus has come, and the light of the world is here. 2020 has been a year when darkness is a picture that sums up so much of what this year has been about. We've been locked down in COVID, and that has created a whole lot of darkness in people's hearts. We've visited a lot of dark places with our fears and anxieties, and wondering what will happen next and when will this all end. And we even have used that imagery of light and darkness. When the vaccine came along, we started talking about a light at the end of the tunnel. And for some, 2020 has been a year when their connection with God has been loosened. We've not been able to hold services in places like this in our church building. That's been denied to us. And for some, that has maybe loosened their connection with God as well. And others, because of the stresses and strains of life, have felt that their faith has become looser and weaker, and they wonder if God has gone away. For others, they've found other opportunities to make that connection with God, or at least search for that connection. Google searches for the word prayer have been far higher this year than any other time. The Try Praying booklets that we have outside our building have more or less all been taken by people, we presume, who want to read the booklet and to try praying. Darkness, but light has come, and this season of Advent is about welcoming the light and celebrating the light, the coming of Jesus. And so we light our Advent candles, and at Christmas time we'll light the big white one in the middle to celebrate the coming of the light of the world. Jesus has come, and he is the Savior of the world. He is the one who brings light and peace and hope to our hearts. An old man met Jesus when Jesus was about 6 weeks old. And he had had in his heart this faith all his life that he would one day see the one who was born to be the Savior. And he met this 6-week-old baby, and at that moment a light went on in Simeon's heart, because he knew he had seen the Savior, he had met him, and that this baby was destined to become the light of the nations. And he went away content. That faith of Simeon's lives on in many people's hearts still, as we understand and welcome Jesus as the light of our world. And so we celebrate Advent and Christmas, and we learn to walk in the light as Jesus shows us the way.